Another teacher asked me about a student who sounds wonderful in lessons sometimes and then comes back the next week sounding like they've never sung before. She worked on everything, breathing, posture, jaw tension, resonance, support. The student understood everything. They even improved during the lesson. But somehow it didn't stabilize. This is one of the most frustrating experiences in voice teaching because eventually teachers begin questioning everything. The imposter syndrome rises up. You're wondering, maybe I'm missing something, and you start looking for tips and techniques and tools on social media. Maybe the student isn't practicing, or they're not talented enough, or they just don't get it. But often the real problem is much deeper. The coordination was never truly automatic. And automaticity, not explanation, or changes in sound, is what creates consistency. Singing happens too quickly for conscious control of every variable. The system must coordinate pitch, tone, quality, tempo, loudness, language, emotional communication, auditory perception, and physical movement. And we haven't even gotten to interpretation yet. That all has to happen in real time, simultaneously. That means elite singing depends heavily on automatic processing, not unconscious in the mystical sense or the psychological sense. Automatic in the trained sense. That means elite singing depends heavily on automatic processing, not unconscious in the mystical sense or in the psychological, emotional sense. Automatic in the trained sense. It's about biology. Stable neural coordination. Welcome to the Singer's Mind channel, where we introduce and discuss principles of neuroscience to unlock age-old wisdom about singing, performing, and creativity. I'm Linda Bolero, and today we're talking about how to train consistency in singers. Students often lose coordination because the conditions changed. Attention, sensory load, stress, self-monitoring, the environment, it's a lot. And when coordination is not deeply trained, the system destabilizes under that variability. This is why singers often sound different in lessons or at home or in the rehearsal. I could do it when I was folding the laundry. But when they got up on the stage, when it really matters, it didn't stay together. It was unstable. The nervous system is adapting to different attentional and sensory demands. One of the most overlooked aspects of singing is attention. Not the kind of attention we talk about in daily life, like, did you pay attention or you weren't concentrating? It's not like that. I'm talking about the unconscious neural system, the network for attention in your brain that works by biology. What the singer attends to changes coordination, and that's calculated by different signals and information that the brain receives. If attention becomes excessively internal, singers often tighten. If attention becomes fragmented, timing destabilizes. And if attention becomes threat-oriented, the system prioritizes protection instead of flexibility. You see, the biology of the brain is all about your survival and how to finish the task at hand. It doesn't calculate whether or not you sound good when you sing. This is why some singers become dramatically worse whenever they're trying harder, because effort and attention conflict with each other. They're not the same thing. This is where modern teaching sometimes gets trapped. Teachers continue adding explanations, tips, tools, techniques. But coordination stabilizes through training conditions, not verbal sophistication, great imagery, beautiful explanations. It's training, like going to the gym. A singer does not become automatic because they heard a beautiful explanation. It's not about finding wonderful imagery to make someone understand how to get their voice to work. Imagery has an enormous place in music and singing, and that has to do more with coaching and with the final touches that you do for interpreting a performance and learning how to approach a score or approach a song, to feel that groove. This is where we need imagery and imagination. In training, we need imagination too, but it's got to be connected to the specific training task at hand. Singers become automatic because the system has adapted through repetition, variability, intentional organization, and progressive challenges. This is why athletes train under changing conditions, and this is why dancers rehearse performance states. And singers need to do the same thing. There was a very famous violinist in Europe who was one of the top violinists for decades. He was a star, and his teacher had taught him to practice the violin first thing when you get up in the morning. It's one of the things I often advise singers too, because if you can get out of bed in the morning and start singing and it feels free and comfortable and you're accomplishing what you wanted to do with your voice, that's a really good sign that it's becoming more stable. By the way, the relationship between emotional state, learning, flow state, attention, coordination, these are all topics I explore in detail in the 12-page printed monthly letter, The Singer's Mind Report, which is fully referenced for you to take a deep dive on the science if you want to, but you don't have to because I provide a lot of frameworks for you. I map out complete frameworks and I give practice recommendations so you can train it over time. The link is below in the description so you can sign up for your free trial whenever you want. So if we consider the attention system, the network, this changes how we teach. Instead of endlessly correcting symptoms, we begin asking, how stable is this coordination under variability? Can the singer maintain it while moving, while performing, while interpreting text, keeping the groove, or keeping a good connection with the score? And while they're also emotionally engaged, because don't forget, when we sing, we're emotionally engaged. What happens if you're distracted, if there's a lot of stress in the performance, something's going wrong? Is the system still going to work? Because a skill is not truly learned until it survives changing conditions. Even in scales, you can start building the changing conditions by practicing the same skill in different ways. For example, a great pronunciation to use to build power in the voice is nay. You can use it in a short scale, you can use it in a descending 5-note scale, or you can use it in a long 1.5-octave scale. But once you've taught the skill, introduce the other options. That's changing conditions. So you're learning to stabilize the skill that you've taught them. This is how singers stop sounding nice and start to develop a stable coordination that shows up automatically when they need it. Likewise, for music and lyrics, challenge singers. Once they've established something, they've learned the song, they understand what it's about, interpret the mood differently or change the groove. This is going to give them a challenge in the moment that will help them build the automaticity that they need for real-life singing. I think this is important emotionally for teachers too, because many excellent teachers secretly feel discouraged when students remain inconsistent. But inconsistency, it's not proof that you're failing. It means the training process stopped too early. The explanation phase was mistaken for the learning phase. Masterclass, I'll show you how brain, body, and behavior interact to create lasting vocal coordination instead of temporary lesson room success. The registration link is below, and in the final video of this series, I want to talk to you about something even more difficult. Why so many students sound nice, but not truly professional. Because professionalism in singing is not simply talent, it's trainable. So sign up for the free masterclass. There's no hidden costs. It'll be great to meet you, and we can really take a deep dive on some of these techniques. You also get a free guidebook, a PDF that you can download immediately when you register. It's completely free, and you'll be able to have this with you when you're learning how to apply this in the studio. And remember, if you want to change your singing, change your mind.